Most mob bosses in history wanted to be famous, but Carlo Gambino only wanted one thing. While legends like Al Capone smiled for the cameras, Carlo knew that fame was a death sentence. He stood just 5 feet 5 inches tall, yet his shadow covered the entire city of New York. On October 25, 1957, the loud and brutal Albert Anastasia sat down for a shave in Manhattan. 2 masked gunmen stormed the barbershop and ended his reign of terror in seconds of violence. Police arrived to find the Mad Hatter dead on the floor, but Carlo was nowhere near the scene. He was miles away, sipping espresso and quietly taking the throne of the Gambino crime family. This was his masterstroke, eliminating his biggest rival without ever pulling a trigger himself. Carlo understood that true power is not about muscle, it is about leverage and strategic silence. The FBI called him the most powerful man in the country, yet they could never catch him on tape. He never spoke on the phone, preferring to whisper orders while walking in loud, crowded streets. His reign lasted 20 years, a golden age where the family made hundreds of millions of dollars. Unlike the flashy John Gotti, Carlo drove a modest car and lived in a simple home in Brooklyn. He taught his men that money made in the dark stays in your pocket, but money in the light vanishes. In 1962, his son Thomas married the daughter of fellow boss Tommy Lucchese to seal a powerful alliance. This marriage united 2 of the 5 families and made Carlo the untouchable boss of bosses in New York. When the government tried to deport him in 1970, his lawyers stalled the process with endless appeals. He played the system like a grandmaster playing chess, always 3 moves ahead of the federal agents. Even his enemies respected him because he never made promises he did not intend to keep to them. Business was always business, and violence was only a last resort when logic and bribery failed. He controlled the unions, the docks, and the garment district with an iron grip wrapped in velvet. Every truck moving goods into York City paid a silent tax to the humble man in the gray suit. The police surveillance teams watched him daily, but they only saw a fragile old man feeding birds. They underestimated him constantly, and that was exactly how Carlo Gambino planned to win the game. While other bosses died in prison cells or gutters, Carlo was planning his peaceful exit from life. He refused to let his family deal drugs, knowing it would bring too much heat from the authorities. Those who disobeyed this rule vanished, serving as a silent warning to anyone who questioned him. In his final years, he chose his cousin Paul Castellano to succeed him, a controversial business choice. Many wanted the underboss Neil Della Croce, but Carlo valued white-collar profits over street muscle. This decision would eventually tear the family apart, but Carlo would not be around to see the chaos. On October 15, 1976, the most feared man in America lay in his own bed at his home in Massapequa. He watched television and drifted off to sleep, passing away from natural causes at age 74. It was the rarest victory in the Mafia, dying of old age as a free man surrounded by his family. His funeral was attended by thousands, but the police still stood outside, watching from a distance. He left behind a legacy of discipline that the modern mob would quickly forget in the years to come. John Gotti would later destroy this silence with flash and noise, leading to the family's collapse. But for 2 decades, Carlo proved that the quietest man in the room is often the most dangerous one. He showed us that ego is the enemy of success, and that silence is the ultimate weapon of power. His life remains a masterclass in strategy, proving that you do not need to shout to be heard. Historians still study his moves today, trying to decode the secrets of his long and quiet reign. The FBI files on him are thousands of pages long, yet they contain almost no usable evidence at all. He beat the law, he beat his rivals, and he beat the odds of a life that usually ends in blood. Some say he was the inspiration for the character of Don Vito Corleone in the movie The Godfather. Whatever the truth, his methods defined an era of organized crime that we will never see again. The world has changed, and the surveillance technology of today makes his style impossible to replicate. But the lessons of patience, low profile, and strategic thinking are timeless for anyone in power. Carlo Gambino won the game because he knew the rules better than the people who wrote them down. He remains the ultimate outlier, a ghost who walked through walls and left no fingerprints behind. If you want to understand the true nature of power, look past the noise and study the quiet ones. Subscribe now to uncover more elite strategies from the shadows of history that the books ignore.